My name is Faris, Sabbah, and I hope you're all staying cool in this heat and that you're staying healthy. Thank you so much for joining us for the launch of Martine Watkins' campaign for Santa Cruz City Council. It's such an honor to introduce Martine Watkins. I'd like to tell you a little bit about Martine and why I'm so supportive of her candidacy for the Santa Cruz City Council. Martine is someone with whom I've had the pleasure of working with closely over the last 5 years. I may be a little bit biased, but I believe that a person who's dedicated their professional life to education brings a holistic approach and a holistic perspective. And that's exactly what Martine does in her work every day on behalf of our community. In her role as a community organizer, her approach is dynamic and collaborative. She uses data to identify and understand the needs of our community. She builds partnerships with agencies to share resources and align efforts. She designs and leads programs and services that address the needs of our most vulnerable students and our families. As a city council member and as our former mayor, she was the architect of the city's health and all policies, championing the Children's Fund and working to restructure childcare developer fees. She worked to align our efforts, our policies, and our services to support the most vulnerable in our community. As we continue to work through the adversity of this evolving health crisis, one of the greatest challenges we've ever faced, one that is exacerbating the inequities of our community with deep impact on our families and our businesses and our community and our children. It is her courage and her leadership, her voice that we need in our city council. Proudly, I stand with Martine Watkins, and I hope you will too. Please join me in welcoming Martine Watkins, your candidate for the Santa Cruz City Council.
Wow, thank you so much, Faris, for those really kind words. And I just so appreciate your leadership, and I'm really grateful to work alongside you. And thank you all who are viewing this virtually and participating. I wish I could see and feel your energy, and I thank you for staying safe during this really challenging time. You know, it's really hard to believe it's been 4 years since we had the first kickoff. And when I first started letting people know I was going to be running again, I got like a mixed reaction. So from like, thank you, that's awesome, to, are you crazy? You had a really challenging year as mayor. What are you thinking? But with my family's approval and Evie giving me the 2 thumbs up, the truth is I'm more committed than ever to serve at this moment. And I want to thank the pioneer women who've served before me. And as we're watching history unfold with our first biracial vice presidential candidate, it's very inspiring to me as a biracial woman. And this month also marks 100 years that we've, as women, have had the right to vote. So we've had a lot of accomplishments over the years, and we still have more to do. And I want to use this pivotal moment in our time to transform our systems and patterns towards sustaining a more humane, more equitable, and a more resilient future for our children. And as leaders, our role is to use data, to hear from you, and to seek out those voices and diverse perspectives, and find threads of commonality that encompass each perspective, but ultimately balances the need for decision-making. As Faris mentioned, I'm really proud to have worked in education over the past 15 years, really working from, cradle to career, restorative justice programming, supporting our youth, and even working on trying to get funding and supportive programs into our jails to support our inmates having the GED and high school diploma, which is so important. And really my position in education has completely informed my perspective as a policymaker. And in this dual role over the past 4 years, I've been able to move policy and programs that you voted me in to do. And I want to highlight just a few of them because I want to build on them as we move forward in the future. When I was mayor, I had an opportunity to advocate for our city and advocate for climate solutions at the national level. I was also able to champion our tobacco flavors ban, which led to others in the county to follow suit and limit flavored tobacco so we aren't getting it in the hands of our youth. I most recently joined public health advocates as a plaintiff, challenging state legislation that essentially had special interests from big soda kind of tying the hands of our state legislators that ultimately led our city voters not being able to weigh in on whether or not we wanted a sugar sweetened beverage tax. And the reason why that's so important is because communities like Seattle and San Francisco are using those dollars to support kids, to support our most hungry in our community. And at this really challenging time, we need to draw on all resources we have available to support our most vulnerable. With cannabis policy, I championed making sure that we are finding ways to support minority and women-owned businesses, and I want to expand that as we move forward. And then also just supported affordable housing. And a woman I know has a house now at the Water Street Apartments, and she was able to get out of a tough relationship and move to a stable home with 2 children that she can get closer to work towards. So it's real people's lives that are impacted by our decisions, and I take that so seriously. As Faris mentioned, the Children's Fund, I'm so proud to have championed that. Right now, we have those dollars going into the hands of families needing childcare support. And it's just that much more that makes it possible for them to withstand the challenges of living here and the cost of living imbalances. And families are experiencing so many challenges right now as they try to balance childcare and working. And I was speaking to a friend the other day, and she was like, I don't know, at a certain point, I have to weigh whether or not it's going to work for me to continue to work. And the reality is that we as a nation have underinvested in this critical infrastructure. And unfortunately, it's been looked at as a family issue, as a mother's issue, as an individual issue. And it's not, it's a societal issue. And so as we look to rebuild, how are we integrating the importance of childcare and doing all we can to support families and workers in our community? And then also working with some of the funding from the Children's Fund to go to our most vulnerable to access parks and recreation programs. My vision is no child, no matter their socioeconomic status, will not be able to access our incredible parks programs that my children and so many children get to benefit from. Clearly, COVID has exposed the harsh health inequities in our communities, and the economic impacts have really hit hardest to those living in poverty, those that are lacking those basic necessities. And also we're at this tipping point in time with our broken criminal justice system that has systemically criminalized and oppressed Black people for years. Right now is a moment for us to embrace and confront these truly difficult topics and to reflect internally and transform to address what these really long emergencies of systemic racism, of poverty that have come to the forefront of our conversation today. And I don't think we can go back to the way it was and trying to work harder within these faulty structures. And so like you and with you, I am prepared and determined to meet the challenges with strength, with resilience, with resolve, and bold action to protect our planet and build a more just future for all. And this really leads me to my final accomplishment and my vision, which is the Health in All Policies Initiative. As mayor, I heard from the community at large, from stakeholders of all ages and community members of different sectors, and we co-created what a Santa Cruz healthy community could look like and the vision for that. And I feel the timeliness of this initiative is so critical because it provides us with this foundation, which I see as the vision for Santa Cruz. And that's to make Santa Cruz the most healthy, the most equitable and sustainable community as possible. And although health and all policies is sort of an academic framework for policymakers, what it really means is that as electeds, as government, if the decisions we make in regards to land use, in regards to housing, in regards to our parks, in regards to how safe routes to school look, if those decisions impact our community's health, then we should take health into consideration when we make those decisions. And when you think about what a healthy community is, you think about where you want to live, right? And so for me, it's about living in a community where we all strive to be. And it's one that has clean air and clean water and access to jobs, and you feel like your voice is heard and you have access to government, and you have opportunity for economic, social mobility, and your kids can get to school safely, right? All the places, all the things that we all strive to be a part of. And an unhealthy community is one in which you see, generational poverty, you see poor air quality, lack of access to opportunity, poor housing, blight, safety concerns, right? And one of the things that we see in those communities is a difference in health outcomes and life expectancy, essentially. And so we have to think about how we're taking equity into consideration, because often minority majority populations live in those conditions. And then lastly, we're thinking about sustainability and resilience, which is and must guide us. And that's really the third element of what a healthy community needs to be about. And as we're moving forward with recovery, we have to see climate solutions as health solutions. More of our most vulnerable are dying from climate change than they are from COVID. And so as we think recovery, let's envision a green economy. Let's create good paying green jobs. Let's continue to invest in clean air and clean water and clean energy, walkable communities. Let's emphasize innovation and infrastructure and rebuilding in a way that's uplifting those who've been left behind. So Santa Cruz, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much to our essential workers. Thank you all, our neighbors, our residents, our friends. Thank everybody so much for staying home and for being safe. You continue to rise to the occasion and you inspire me. I've found that there is so much we have in common if we focus on the values we share. If we seek compromise, we can truly best serve the best interests of our city. I stand ready to meet the challenges we face today and rebuild for a better tomorrow. And I just want to end with a story. And, you know, my daughter, my littlest one, recently asked me, you know, why don't you get summers off? She's like, you know, Dad gets summers off and you're working. And I said, well, you know, I'm helping people. And she's like, okay, so you're helping the planet. And I was like, well, you know, I help like people and kids and stuff. And she's like, well, Mom, people are made from the earth. And when you help people, you also help the earth. And so this connection is so true. And we're a species that's part of an ecosystem that's interconnected, that's interdependent, and together we're stronger, and our future generations are depending on us to be good leaders in this moment. So I will end with that. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in on a hot Saturday afternoon. Faris, for your super kind words and your leadership and education. It's an honor to work with you. Our entire campaign team. I want everybody to stay healthy. We'll support one another and get through this and come out better in the end. And I know Vice Mayor Meyers is also here to join us. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to her. And thank you again. I'm most grateful.
Donna, we're not able to hear you.
Sorry. Hi, everybody. Martine and Faris, thank you for your words and for all your work. You're both mentors to me. We all lean in together to make things better. And I couldn't think of two people that I'm more excited to be with this afternoon. I'm always inspired by the work that our education community does for everyone in Santa Cruz, all the families. And so you guys you're the foundation for our community. So thank you for all your work. For everyone listening today, I just want to say hi, and I hope everyone is doing well today and staying safe, staying in your pod, wearing your masks, and leaning in to take care of all Santa Cruz in your way that you're making your way through your day and currently living with COVID-19. I want to say that I'm so honored and excited to be part of Martine's campaign launch today. And Santa Cruz is extremely lucky to have a leader like Martine be willing to serve our community for 4 more years. Martine's enthusiasm for this job is palpable every time that I meet with her and on everything we work on. She believes with her heart that her duty as a council member is to lift up our community, to make changes that impact the very foundation of our community, and that's our families and our kids, our local businesses, and our neighborhoods. When I talk to Martine on her cell phone when she's walking her dog, she is constantly interrupted because she is that well loved in this community. People are saying hello to her. They're cheering her on. They're complimenting her and thanking her for her work. So if you're walking your dog and you can barely make it a block without someone walking up and saying thanks or saying hello, it means that you're a well-loved person in Santa Cruz. And that's really who Martine is. And, you know, it's really easy when you become a council member, since I have this experience now, that you come into the job and you feel like you can change the world and that you have to make big change instead of doing the work to build better and stronger communities. The thing that Martine does is that she keeps her eye on building better and stronger communities. And that's why she succeeds in her initiatives. You've already heard Faris and Martine talk about her work with the Children's Fund. That was an innovative thing that other communities around California are now looking to do. So that is meaningful change. That is big change, but it's also building Santa Cruz to be a big, better and stronger community. She's also helped and joined the fight to stop the sale of flavored tobaccos, but she doesn't stop there. She's continuing to focus on preventative actions to keep our kids healthy. So when you make change, you don't just call it a day. You keep looking for the next level of where you can make that impact, and that's what Martine does. She led the council, as she mentioned, and the community in supporting health in all policies. And this framework is being recognized nationally now, as well as around the country in terms of local cities and counties, as a way to really think differently about how we do our jobs. How do we service our community? Our community supports us, and we are now looking at new and innovative ways to try to bring better metrics of success back to our community members. And so health in all policy really helps us it sets a framework for us to be able to measure against and to really think and discuss the hard topics that sometimes have gotten missed. And under COVID-19, we've seen that, you know, healthcare, where people's homes are built, access to medical clinics, access to dental clinics, the things that make a community, access to a grocery store. Those are all the things that are easily missed when we just are looking through the lens of land use or other things. Health in all policy helps us really step back and make sure that we're measuring and we're understanding how to do the best projects for our community. And Martine brought that concept to us. She's the one that championed that, and she passed that with a unanimous vote of the City Council last year. Martine has a laser focus on working families and the things that they need to succeed here. She looks for ways to support childcare, design city projects to include benefits for all of our community members, and thinks creatively about how we measure success in our community. The thing that impresses me, though, the most about Martine is just the way she balances her life. She has a beautiful family, meaningful work, and a community that loves her. I remember walking when I was running for City Council, and I knocked on a woman's door. And it was a hot Saturday afternoon like today, and I'm sure she was a little shocked to get a knock on a 95-degree day. And she opened the door, and I said, "I'm Donna Meyers, and I'm running for City Council." And she looked me straight in the eye, and she said, "I got your brochure, and I saw that Martine Watkins endorsed you. You have my vote." So that's how meaningful Martine's work is to this community. Martine speaks up, she stands up, and she steps up, plain and simple. She's not doing this to stop progress in our community. She is doing this because she can and will make change in our community. So I hope today, everyone who's watching the kickoff today, I hope before you leave, you will support Martine's campaign. There is a donate button on the website. You can get to the website either through Facebook or directly to the website. We need her back in office, and we need your support to get her here, get her there. Your donation today will help support Martine to get back up on the council dais where we want her, and she'll keep working for our community from there. You can also help Martine's campaign today by signing up for a yard sign, hosting a Zoom get-together, and volunteering for the campaign in other ways, whether that's helping with introductions to your neighbors and others who need to get involved, working to get additional endorsements. Please get involved. We all know this is a tough time to run for office. We're all going to have to lean in and help each other, and I encourage you to get involved with the campaign as much as possible in the ways that you can. And most importantly, let's get this wonderful person back in office. Martine made history before, and she has more work to do. So thanks for joining us today, and please get on the website, make your donation today, and let's get Martine Watkins back in office. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Martine. Thanks, Faris. Cheers, everybody. Stay safe.